Did you ever feel like there's a conversation you're just not ready to have? That silence is costing you more than you know. Maybe it's with your boss, maybe it's with your partner, or maybe it's yourself. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how to transform the discomfort you feel into one of the greatest tools for building unshakable trust.
Even though the economy is now growing again, almost 6% last quarter, people have not started hiring again. And we've got to do everything we can to put people back to work because we need a sustainable recovery over the long term. I've got to be honest with you, there's no magic wand that makes the economic problems that were years in the making disappear overnight.
Notice that pause? Even great leaders lean into silence and discomfort before speaking. And that's what I call presence, and it changes everything. Now let us understand the high cost of avoidance. We all have been taught that it's easier to just let things go. If we tell ourselves it's not a big deal, it's just me, right, as a person. But every time you avoid this difficult conversation, you're just not letting something go. You're allowing a sort of wall to be built.
I wrote a book, I published a theory, but something was not okay. And what it was is that if I roughly took the people I interviewed and divided them into people who really have a sense of worthiness, that's what this comes down to, a sense of worthiness. They have a strong sense of love and belonging, and folks who struggle for it, and folks who are always wondering if they're good enough. There was only one variable that separated the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging and the people who really struggle for it, and that was the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging.
As Brené Brown reminds us, leaning into discomfort is the very definition of courage. Avoidance might feel safe, but it silently erodes the trust, and the cost of that wall is staggering. You know, a Harvard study found that 70% of the employees avoid difficult conversations. And the result isn't just not the awkward silence, it's lower engagement, more employee turnover, and sort of broken trust. To me, avoidance is like a silent leak. It doesn't just flood the house overnight, it rots the foundation until everything starts to crumble. Now, one of the reflective questions I want you to think of one conversation you avoided in the past month. What has already costed you? A good night's sleep, a missed opportunity, or a damaged relationship? Now let me share something which happened to me, okay? Earlier in my career, I had to confront a team member who was brilliant but was constantly dismissive of others' ideas. I dreaded it. I lost sleep over it. I almost convinced myself to let it slide, not to get into any kind of argument or conversation with him. Every time I thought about having that conversation, a knot would get formed in my stomach. I just did not have the courage even. But I knew the team was suffering and I had to step in. I finally sat with him. It was messy, trust me. It was uncomfortable, but it was honest. I shared my perspective and listened to his. And you know what? We didn't solve everything that day, but we opened the door. The tension that had been building for months was finally released. Yeah, we didn't get to, desired outcome, but that conversation didn't just improve our project, it redefined our relationship. And that's when I learned courage doesn't kill trust, it creates it. And discomfort is not the enemy, it is the entry point to trust. Now, let us look at a solution which all of us can apply, what I call as the courageous conversation model. And it is a very simple 3 steps. The truth is, difficult conversation are a skill. And like any skill, we got to learn it. And it's a 3-step model that has helped me, and I'm pretty sure it's going to help you as well. Step number 1, the head and the heart check. The clarity before the conversation. Before you say a single word, check your mindset. Ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be effective? And if you want to win an argument, you will likely lose the relationship. And if you want to understand and find a solution, you will open the door to enormous connection. Number 2, lead with curiosity. Questions often opens the doors and assumptions will completely close them. So instead of accusing, Start by asking. You can disarm almost any situation with one simple phrase. Help me understand your perspective. Or, I have noticed this happen and I'm curious about what's going on. Now, you are not making a judgment. You're sort of inviting a dialogue for a conversation. Step number 3, listen beneath the words. Don't just hear the words. Hear what is hiding within it. People often react to what's said on the surface, not to the deeper underlying motivation. And this is where true empathy lives. People don't always say what they mean. For example, a frustrated coworker would say, "This is a stupid idea," might really be saying, "I am overwhelmed. I don't see how this new project fits into my workload." So next time, don't just hear the words. Listen to the fear, the frustration or need underneath them. Just watch this.
When we feel safe inside the organization, we will naturally combine our talents and our strengths and work tirelessly to face the dangers outside and seize the opportunities. The closest analogy I can give to what a great leader is, it's like being a parent. If you think about what being a great parent is, what do you want? What makes a great parent? We want to give our child opportunities, education, discipline them when necessary, all so that they can grow up and achieve more than we could for ourselves.
Simon Sinek nails it. People thrive when they feel safe, and safety starts with leaders who listen, not just to the words, but to what's underneath it. Now, let's take a live example and see how we can apply this, right? Imagine you have a teenager who comes home and says, "I hate my teacher." Now, you could have an avoidant approach, what I call. You just respond with a quick fix, just talk to them tomorrow, and this often shuts the conversation down. Now, look at the scenario B, which is I call as the courageous approach. You start with the curiosity. Okay, tell me more about it. What happened that made you feel that way? Then you listen beneath the words. They might be struggling with a subject and feel embarrassed to ask even for help. Now you're gone from a simple complaint to a real problem which you can actually solve together. Now we all work, right? So let's take an example of the professional world also. Let's watch how can you handle tough audience questions gracefully.
No! Yes. So when you are,
Okay, y'all.
not just rock star, role model, world's most admired woman, when you are that, when you carry all of those titles, does that affect how you then make decisions?
She didn't rush to defend or dismiss. She pauses, acknowledges, and then responds with empathy. That's the model in action. Now let's take an example from the workplace as well. Now imagine you're talking to a colleague who is often constantly late to meetings, okay? One of the avoidant approaches would be you send a passive email, "Please be on time for my meetings." The problem doesn't get solved and the relationship is now completely strained. Now look at the other example where you take a courageous approach. You ask to talk to them one-on-one and you say, "I have been noticing that you have been a little late to our last few meetings. I'm not here to lecture you, but I'm curious about what's been going on. I want to make sure you have the support you need. What can I do for you?" Now, by doing this, you have led with curiosity and a desire to understand their reality. You have given a chance to solve the root problem. When it's an issue, it could be a family issue, could be a personal, or could be a professional bottleneck. Now, a challenge for you guys. Just pause this video for 10 seconds and think of one person you have been avoiding. Got it? Okay, now imagine applying the step 1, 2, and 3, the heart and check, right? Do you want to be right or do you want to be effective? That's a question you need to ask yourself again and again, right? Now remember, avoidance is just going to build wall, but courage builds the bridges. Discomfort is not the red light to stop. It's the green light to grow.
The police are still killing our people, as they've done over the years. Vigilante groups are openly arming themselves for the specific purpose of attacking progressive groups and progressive leaders. The right wing is also arming itself openly, and they say they are doing so for the purpose of destroying the ANC. They are calling for some of us to be hanged. Why would you think that we should now relax our strategies? What has happened?
If Mandela could turn enemies into partners through difficult conversation, imagine what's possible in your workplace, your family, and your life. If you're ready to master this, check out my book, The Unspoken Truth, where I've given practical toolkits for every conversation, and the link is below. Because the leaders who change the world aren't the ones who stay silent. They are the ones who speak when it matters the most. So a specific action for you, which is I call it as homework as well. Choose one uncomfortable conversation. Use this courageous conversation model and notice what changes, and let me know in the comments below.